Good day everyone! Let's get our brain warm up for today. Now, I want you to silently think about a song you've heard on your radio in this morning. Try to remember the lyrics. Okay, do you remember all of them? A few lines? Or you just remember the chorus? Now, let's explore for our topic for today. And it's all about an information processing theory.
Good day everyone, my name is Jamalan M. Canelas and I'm going to discuss to you the information processing theory. But first, let me introduce George Miller. George Miller is an American cognitive psychologist known for his contribution to the understanding of human memory and languages. So, let's go back to the information processing theory. He also contributed to this theory. So, this theory compares the human mind to a computer. It explains how we receive, store, and use information. Our brain works in stages. Stage 1 is the input. Information enters the brain like typing data to a computer. The second one is processing. The brain analyzes and makes sense of the information. The third one is the storage. Important information is saved in memory like saving a file. The fourth one is the retrieval. We recall or use that information when needed, like opening a saved file. For example, when you learn a new math formula, you first receive it, which is the input, practice and understand it, process, remember it, the storage, and use it on a test, it is the retrieve. Computer part can be like in a human brain, like input devices in the computer part like keyboard, mouses. In the human brain, we also have the senses, the eyes, ears, etc. So, for the information process theory, there is 5 types of knowledge. The first one is general versus specific knowledge. General knowledge is a broad, fundamental information applicable across various contexts, while the specific knowledge is detailed, specialized information relevant to a particular field or topic. For example, in general knowledge, knowing the capital of the country, while the specific knowledge is in-depth understanding about the economic policies of that country. The next one is the declarative knowledge, knowing what. Declarative knowledge is a factual information on truths we know about the world. It tells us what things are and help us describe, explain, or recall facts, concepts, and principles. Examples: knowing that the earth revolves around the sun, or knowing the definition of photosynthesis. The third one is the procedural knowledge, knowing how. Procedural knowledge involves understanding how to perform certain actions or steps to complete a task. It's practical and skill-based, like knowing how to ride a bicycle or knowing how to cook spaghetti or bake a cake. The third one is the episodic knowledge, or personal experiences. Episodic knowledge is related to your personal life, experiences, and memory. It helps you remember events that happened to you personally. Example, remembering your birthday celebration last year and thinking about your high school graduation day. The last but not the least is the conditional knowledge, or knowing when and why. Conditional knowledge means understanding when, where, and why to use what you know. It helps you apply the right knowledge or strategy in the right situation. Example, knowing when to use a calculator and when to do mental math. And knowing when to speak formally or casually depending on the person you talk to.
From that, the brain processes information in a way that compared to computer works. And this is presented by the model and using of metaphor to a human mind by these 4 psychologists: George Miller, Donald Broadbent, Richard Atkinson, and Richard Shifrain. Miller, along with others, a pioneered shift from behaviorism to cognitive psychology, or the psychological model, by using metaphor to human mind. So, there are 3 key stages on how our brain processes information, and the first step is also encoding. Encoding is the information sensed, perceived, and attended to, meaning it is getting information in, or the process of input. This is the process converting into a sensory input like what we see or hear into a mental format that our brain can store it. For an example, when a child learns the capital of France is Paris, they encode also into their mind or to their memory those information by hearing those words and by saying them and are written down. So that's the process of encoding. We encode information that is sensed, perceived, and attended to. And once encoded, the information it keeps in our memory. And this is the process of a second stage, the storage. They have different storage system with different lengths. Like for an example, a short-term memory to long-term memory. When we say a short-term memory, it is holds of information in a very short period of time. While the long-term memory, it keeps or stores information for a long period of time or eventually in a lifetime. Like for an example, in a long-term memory, it just the memory of your childhood. The last step is retrieval. When we say retrieval, the ones who encode information and stores it, when we need an information, we can retrieve. So meaning, the retrieval is the process of recalling and remembering of information when you need. And like for an example, when your teacher tried to ask you, what is the capital of France? And the students retrieve from that, and they answer, Paris. And information passes through these stages of memory. That we keep what we pay attention to, and the rest fades away. And this is the model of Atkinson and Shiffrin, the multi-store model of memory. The first stage of our memory is the sensory memory. When we say sensory memory or the register memory, it is also that holds of information from our senses for less than a few seconds. So, we have different kind of senses. And the sensory memory, it is an automatic and unconscious filter. Like for example, imagine you're walking down a street and you glance at a store window and you have a quick flash about the clothes inside the window. But you can't describe them in a detail unless you will stop and focus on it. And that is the purpose of our sensory memory. We filter out those irrelevant information and pass on what we pay attention to. That is proposed model of Donald Broadbent as to filter the model of attention. So there are so many perceived information or senses, but we can only focus on what we pay attention to. Another way of it or example, like for example, nagsulod ka sa isa na maribok na room or classroom. Let's say na ginatawagan ni mo name. Ibinamaribok, nabati mo siya na gintawagan ni mo name. So, it is just because you filter out those sounds of information. And let's proceed to the second stage of memory. It is all about a short-term memory. And this is proposed by George Miller, which is the magical number of 7 plus sign and minus, and the 2, where it is also holding a small amount of information that is actively thinking about right now. And think of that as your temporary workspace, where limited capacity of information, just 15 to 30 seconds and 5 to 9 bits of information. Meaning, because of the magical number of 7 plus sign and minus, the 2, when we add 7 and 2, it equals for 9, and when we minus it, it is equals for 5, and it is the 5 to 9 bits of information. Like for an example, gusto mo ayun ang number sa nimo friend. Then, para ma-i-encode mo ito sa imo cellphone, you will repeat it. Pero, madudugay ka kasi di mo siya masasaulo dayon. At makakalimutan mo siya dayon pagkatapos mo siya ma-encode sa imo cellphone because di mo na siya kailangan sa imo short. But, George Miller proposed another way, or the model of chunking, which means we better remember those kind of information when we group those information. Like for example, kanina sa ginaayo sa number sa imo friend. So, imbis na 11 digits ani mo paga sa ulo, or let's say, i-group mo siya into 3 chunks. Meaning, the first chunks is also the 4 digits of number. The second chunks is the 3 digits of the number. The third chunks is also the last other 4 digits of number. So, you can easily understand what is, and you can easily remember those digits. The last and the final stage of our memory, it is the long-term memory. When we say long-term memory, it is the permanent knowledge base for a long period of time that we can actually retrieve when we need it. Like for an example, holding things like how to ride a bicycle, the name of your first teacher, and also the lyrics of your favorite song. Diba? Na mas retain gyapon ito sa imo because it process from short-term memory to long-term memory. For an example, in riding a bicycle, mas hindi mo na di ka na nakakagamit or di ka na nakakadrive sa bicycle, once na makakita ka sinusad na bicycle and you try it, syempre, maaram kaghapon magpaandar sina. And that is the process of a long-term memory, which is you don't have to think about it all the time because you can easily retrieve from that information whenever you need it. Proceed to the other model, the executive control processes. It involves the executive control processor, or what is referred to as metacognitive skills. And we already know what is metacognitive skills, right? And it is also known for Jan Flavel. This is the process that guides the flow of information through the system, or help the learner make informed decisions about how to categorize, organize, or interpret information. Or for the example of the processor is the attention, rehearsal, and organization. When we say executive control processes, it means that is the guide flow of our thinking. In the executive control processes, you will manage your own thinking, as it is the manager of your mind. So meaning you can manage, you can decide what to focus on and how you will remember it. Para po nisad nato na reporter, let's proceed for her report. Okay? And another information about forgetting. Forgetting is the inability to retrieve or access of information when you need it. Because there are two main reasons why we forget things or information. The decay and interference. When we say decay, the information is not attended to and eventually fades away. And this is equivalent for working memory. For example, the short-term memory or storage system. So, decay is pag dili mo siya nagagamit ang information, makakalimutan mo, right? And for example, no review. So, dili mo siya matatandaan. And another one, interference. When the new and old information mix up. So, you forget that. And there are two types of interference, the retroactive and the proactive. When we say the retroactive, the new blocks an old. Yes. For an example, learning of new password and forget the old one. Ma-change ka sa password sa Facebook, 'di ba? Dahil sa new password, makakalimutan mo an old password, right? And another one, the proactive interference. If the old information interferes with recalling the new information. So, kabaliktaran naman siya sa retroactive. Let's say the proactive is the old blocks the new. Meaning, for example, you are writing an old year of, for example, 2024 rather of 2025 because nakasanayan mo siya or amo mismo ang nag-retain sa memory. So, that's why, through your exam, na mali ka sa pagsurat sa year, and that is 2024, syempre, 2025 na. And that is the process of proactive.
Rehearsal is a way of keeping information in your short-term memory by repeating it over and over. For example, your teacher gives you 5 words to remember for a short quiz. Cat, book, pen, tree, ball. If you keep repeating them in your head or whispering them over and over, cat, book, pen, tree, ball, cat, book, pen, tree, ball, that's maintenance rehearsal. Elaborative rehearsal is a way of remembering information by making it meaningful. You connect it to things you already know, create examples, or form a story. For example, the cat climbed the tree and dropped a ball on my book. So I grabbed my pen to write it down. In short, elaborative rehearsal connect to the meaning or long-term memory. Next, mnemonic devices are memory tricks that help you remember information more easily by using patterns, rhymes, or association. For example, to remember the colors of the rainbow. Next is imagery. Imagery is when you use mental pictures to help you remember something. For example, if you want to remember the word apple, you might picture a big, red, shiny apple in your mind. Next is retrieval. There are 2 types according to Endel Tolbin. 1972, distinguish recall, remembering without clues, and recognition, identifying from options. Next is encoding. The 3 main ways in which information can be encoded. First, visual or picture. Second, acoustic or sound. Third, semantic or meaning.
Okay, class, what have you learned for our topic today? Yes, it is all about an information processing theory on how our brain processes and works of information.